The day Dom vanished, it rained so hard the windows cried. Seattle rain, the kind that feels personal. Kara stood at the kitchen island, slowly stirring her instant ramen, watching rivulets crawl down the glass. Across from her, Jesse sat on the bar stool, hung over, scrolling his phone with the lifeless stare of someone avoiding something. "He didn't come home last night," Kara said. "It wasn't a question." Jesse didn't look up. "Dom probably crashed at Tosha's." "No, he didn't," Mel called from the hallway, earbuds dangling, wearing mismatched socks and a true crime hoodie. Tosha posted a selfie at 2 a.m. She was alone. Jesse finally looked up, tension tightening around his jaw. "You stalk his girlfriend now?" "Relax," Mel said. "I just think it's weird. His bed's made, his chargers are gone, but his shoes are still by the door." Kara set her spoon down. Dom was always loud. Loud opinions, loud music, loud presence. The silence felt like something had been carved out of the apartment. They all noticed it. They just didn't know what to do about it. Maybe he left for a weekend thing? Kara offered weakly, but even she didn't buy it. Dom had been their glue in many ways. When she moved in 3 months ago, still shaking from her breakdown, he'd been the one to talk her out of breaking the lease. Jesse had once jokingly called him the dad friend, but they all knew it was kind of true. Now he was gone. Mel knocked on his bedroom door again that evening, just to try. No answer. The room was locked from the inside. "Should we call someone?" Kara asked. "Like the cops?" Jesse said, skeptical. "They won't care. He's an adult. Gone a day. Not exactly a crisis." "But it doesn't feel right," Mel murmured. "He's too consistent." The next morning, Kara woke up to the sound of suitcases dragging across the hardwood floor. She stepped into the hallway in her hoodie and socks, squinting. A tall woman with silver-dyed hair and a pale, unreadable face was walking into Dom's room with 2 rolling bags. The room was open now. Unlocked. Hi," Kara called out. The woman didn't turn around. She closed the door behind her. Jesse appeared behind Kara. "What the?" Did the leasing app just reassign Dom's room? "Already?" Kara asked. "He hasn't even been gone 48 hours. I didn't get any notice." Jesse opened the app on his phone. His face tightened. "Room 4. Leased to someone named Iris." Mel joined them, frowning. "We should ask her." But the door stayed shut. They didn't see Iris again until the next night. She emerged at midnight like a shadow, gliding past the kitchen in a black coat, earphones in. She didn't make eye contact. She didn't say hello. She disappeared out the front door and didn't return until dawn. Kara stood in the hallway holding a mug of cold tea, heart hammering. "I don't like this," she whispered to no one. Then she checked her phone. No messages from Dom. Nothing new on his socials. Later that day, Kara stepped into the laundry room and froze. Dom's jacket was there. The leather one he wore nearly every day. Just sitting on top of the dryer. Jesse swore he hadn't put it there. Neither had Mel. Kara picked it up, hands trembling. Something was stuffed in the inside pocket. A single apartment key. One that looked exactly like the others they all carried. Except this one had a tiny scratch across the front. Dom's voice echoed in her memory. "If I ever go missing, assume I got into something I couldn't talk about." She stared down at the key, her throat tightening. And from the hallway behind her, she thought she heard a door creak, followed by the soft click of a lock. Mel called the leasing company first thing the next morning, pacing barefoot in the living room while the call rang endlessly. Kara sat cross-legged on the couch, clutching Dom's scratched key in her palm, the ridges leaving tiny red marks on her skin. Jesse leaned against the wall, arms folded, chewing his thumbnail like a nervous tick. "Hi, yes, I'm calling from Unit 302, Mel finally said when someone answered. "We had a roommate go missing, Dominic Nunez, and now someone named Iris is in his room. We didn't even get a notice of lease termination, which I thought was policy." She paused, her eyebrows pulling together. "No," she said slowly. "I'm telling you, the room is occupied. She moved in 2 nights ago. You don't see any new tenants." Another pause. Mel's face changed. "Wait. What do you mean room 4 is vacant?" She put the phone on speaker. A chipper-voiced agent from the leasing office repeated herself. "There's no tenant registered for room 4 at this time. It was flagged in our system as offline due to maintenance. We've sent no new lease invites for that unit." Jesse straightened. "That's not possible. She has a key." Mel's voice grew tight. "Someone's in there. We suggest you call the police if you believe someone has unlawfully entered the unit," the agent said, tone going colder. "We can't help further unless we receive a formal complaint." The call ended. Kara's pulse throbbed in her ears. What does that even mean? If no one assigned her, how did she get in? "She's in the system, but not in the system," Mel muttered. "It's a glitch." Jesse shook his head. "Nah, that's not a glitch. That's someone playing with us. They knocked on Iris's door that afternoon. No answer. No sounds from within." Jesse tried the handle. Locked. That night, Kara dreamt of voices. She woke in the middle of the night on the kitchen floor, her hoodie damp with sweat. Her cheek throbbed. She must have hit the counter on the way down. The stove clock blinked 3:47 a.m. From down the hall came the sound of a door slowly creaking open. She rose shakily, grabbing a wooden spoon from the counter as if it offered any protection. The hallway stretched ahead of her like something out of a tunnel dream. Iris's door was slightly ajar. Kara edged forward. Light flickered behind the door, like a candle stuttering in the wind. She peeked in. The room wasn't Dom's anymore. The walls had been stripped. All furniture gone except a desk and chair. The floor was bare wood, cold and echoing. On the desk sat an ancient CRT monitor, beige, boxy, out of place. No visible wires. No tower. Just the screen. And it was on. The glow was weak, blue-green. Kara stepped closer, heart thudding. A cursor blinked on a black screen. Then, "Do you want to see?" Kara backed up instinctively. Suddenly, a figure moved behind her in the reflection of the glass. Tall, pale. She spun. But the doorway was empty. The next morning, she told Mel and Jesse everything. The key. The dream. The room. Mel dragged them back to Iris's door. Knocked again. No answer. "She's not real," Kara said quietly. Jesse glanced sideways. "What?" "She's like some kind of echo. Or don't start with that." Jesse stepped forward, banged once, hard. "Hey! We need to talk to you." The door opened. Iris stood there, dressed in all black. She looked at each of them, blankly. Her pupils were so large her eyes looked almost entirely black. "You shouldn't have gone into the room," she said softly. Kara took a step back. "What?" "I didn't open it. If you entered, then something else did. And it won't stop now." She shut the door in their faces. No one spoke. It was Mel who broke the silence. "We need to find out what happened to Dom tonight." Jessie swallowed. "And how do you suggest we do that?" Mel looked at the scratched key in Kara's hand. "We open every locked door in this apartment." They waited until Iris left. Around 2 a.m., the front door clicked and closed behind her, just like the night before. Her footsteps on the metal stairs echoed for a few seconds, then silence. Kara, Jessie, and Mel stood huddled in the hallway, facing Dom's old room. Kara's hand shook as she inserted the scratched key. Click. The door opened without resistance. Inside, the CRT monitor was gone. The desk remained, but everything else had changed again. A bare mattress sat in the middle of the floor now. Walls painted a sickly beige. No window. No closet. Mel stepped inside and looked around. Where are his things? Like, all of them. Jessie looked spooked. This isn't how it was yesterday. It was furnished. I saw the old posters still up. It's like it's wiping itself, Kara said. Resetting. In the corner, they found a vent. Standard size. Dusty edges. Mel crouched beside it and pulled out her phone flashlight. There's something inside. Jessie pulled the cover off. A puff of air escaped, stale and sour. Kara gagged. Mel reached in. Her fingers brushed something, soft, fabric-like. She tugged it free. It was Dom's hoodie. The yellow one he always wore on cold mornings, with a hole in the sleeve and paint flecks from when he helped paint Mel's wall. It smelled like mildew and something else. Fear hit Kara in the gut like a punch. "Someone put it there?" Jessie asked, but his voice lacked conviction. Mel turned on her phone camera and stuck it into the vent, filming blindly. She rotated the lens slowly, angling downward. They watched the screen. First, just metal walls. Then, suddenly, a drop. The vent opened into a vertical shaft. "It goes down," Mel whispered. "There's no basement in this building," Jessie said. "Right." Mel stood. "There's always maintenance access. Old industrial buildings like this. They just lock it off and tell tenants it doesn't exist." Kara's voice cracked. "You think Dom went down there? Or got pulled?" Mel muttered. "They didn't go in that night." Instead, Mel hacked the tenant portal. She used an old maintenance intern login she had from a short-lived temp job with a property management company, one she never deleted out of spite. At 3:43 a.m., she found the map. The co-living space had a fourth utility level, one not shown on the leasing app. A floor beneath the lobby, labeled simply L1. Access marked. Authorized maintenance only. "Jesus," Jessie muttered, staring at the screen. Kara's hands were clenched in her lap. "It's not just that she's not in the system. The room isn't, either." Mel looked pale. "I think Iris comes from down there." They followed the shaft entrance the next night. The building's basement stairwell, normally locked, was inexplicably propped open with a wet floor sign. No cameras. No lights. Jessie brought a flashlight. Mel brought pepper spray. Kara carried Dom's key like a talisman. The stairs creaked under their weight as they descended. The air grew colder, more metallic. At the bottom, they found a narrow hallway. Pipes ran across the ceiling. Some dripped. Others hummed. On the far wall, a steel door with no handle. Just a slot. Mel reached into her bag and pulled out a folded note. "Dom gave me this 2 weeks ago. Said to use it if weird stuff started happening. I thought he was being dramatic. She slid the paper into the slot. A click. The door opened. Beyond was not a room. It was a corridor. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead. Doors lined each side, identical, unmarked, stretching into darkness. Concrete underfoot. It smelled like mold, copper, and ozone. They stepped in. The door shut behind them. Kara tried the knob. Locked. They were trapped. From somewhere deep in the corridor, a soft static buzz began. Then, a distant voice. Distorted. Familiar. Mel. Kara. Jessie. Kara felt cold bloom across her spine. It was Dom's voice. Mel's lips parted. He's still down here. Jessie grabbed her arm. Or something wants us to think that. At the end of the corridor, a single light turned green. A door opened, and something inside moved. They didn't move at first. The corridor stretched ahead like a throat, the single green light at the far end flickering weakly above the open door. From within came the sound of shuffling, measured, uneven, like someone dragging one foot behind the other. Mel's voice cracked. We need to decide now. Do we go in or go back? Kara turned toward the steel door behind them. We can't go back. It locked behind us. Jessie was already stepping forward. Then we finish it. Whatever's down here, we find Dom, or we end this. Mel and Kara followed. The open door led into a wide, windowless room. Walls covered in peeling soundproof foam. Wires coiled across the floor like snakes. In the middle of the room, on a plastic folding chair, sat Dom. He looked up. His face was pale, eyes ringed with purple. His lips parted as if struggling to form words. "Help me," he whispered. Kara rushed forward, but Jessie grabbed her arm. "Wait." Dom's mouth moved again. "They copied me." Mel took a step back. "What?" "They took me. Then made me." Kara's heart pounded. "Dom, what happened?" Dom's body trembled. "Don't let them shut the door again." Behind them, the corridor door slammed closed with a boom. The light above turned red. The hum began. Low at first, like a generator coming alive. Then louder. A pressure built in the room, in their skulls. The lights flickered. Dom screamed suddenly, convulsing, toppling from the chair. His skin rippled, like something beneath it was shifting. Jessie yanked Kara back. "That's not him." But Kara held up the scratched key. "He left this. He wanted us to find him." Mel backed toward a panel on the wall, an old circuit box with a manual override. Her hands trembled as she pulled it open. "There's a main switch." Dom groaned on the floor. "If you turn it off, everything resets." Kara turned to him. "What does that mean?" He looked up, his eyes now wrong. Pupils like pinholes. "The rooms. The app. Iris. They start over. Another group. Another cycle." Jessie's face drained of color. "You're telling me this place feeds on us?" "No," Dom rasped. "It mirrors us. To study. To replace." Kara stepped toward him, key tight in her fist. "Then where's the real you?" Dom's form twitched again. A glitch in flesh. A pulse of light ran beneath his skin, like fiber optics flashing behind the muscle. "Gone," he whispered. Mel screamed. Behind them, Iris stood in the doorway, silent, watching, her face expressionless, eyes fully black now. "You shouldn't have come," she said. Now we have to clean the system. She stepped forward. Jessie hurled the flashlight at her. It shattered against her face, but she didn't flinch. Just kept walking, steady, predatory. "Kill the power!" he screamed. Mel slammed the switch down. Everything went black. The hum died instantly. The air was silent, except for the clicking of cooling wires and Kara's shallow breathing. When the lights flickered back on, half of them strobing in emergency red, Dom was gone. So was Iris. Just an empty chair. A dark corridor. Silence. They ran. The corridor was no longer endless. Just 10 doors. Then a stairwell. Then up. They burst into the lobby of their building at sunrise, panting, sweaty, wild-eyed. A security guard stood sipping a coffee. Blinked at them. "You guys locked in the boiler access?" he asked, unfazed. None of them responded. Upstairs, their apartment was quiet, untouched. Dom's door was sealed shut. The leasing app listed it as available. Iris was gone. The scratched key no longer worked. Mel tried logging back into the admin portal. Her access was revoked. Room 4 was not listed. Jessie deleted the app. Kara kept the key. 1 week later, Kara sat alone at the kitchen counter, flipping through a notebook. On the last page, scrawled in Dom's handwriting, "If the door opens on its own, don't look, don't speak, don't follow." Her phone buzzed. A new roommate had joined the lease. Room 4, Ellis M. Profile picture, blurred face. Gender, undefined. Move-in time, 3:33 a.m. Kara looked down the hall. Dom's door was open again, and from inside she heard typing.